Scott from Tsunami, and today I'm going to show you my crib, or more importantly, the nerdy things in my crib. So we'll start in the living room with my bookshelf. So right now at the top I actually have the entire series of Stephen King's The Dark Tower series, which I'm actually reading through at the moment. I'm on the 4th one. It's pretty good so far. I highly recommend it. I'm trying to get through it before the movie releases this summer. Have some more Stephen King, as well as some Dean Koontz here, you know. Two authors I just kind of like. And then, you know, a few other books that I actually probably haven't read all of these, that I'd like to get to at some point in time. I have a reading list that's probably longer than I'm proud of. On this shelf I have a lot of Tom Clancy books, who's another one of my favorite authors, as well as another one, Michael Crichton. I'd like to get all of their works in hardback like these, especially since both of them have passed away now. This is kind of the extent of their work, or will be hopefully eventually. Below that, some of my childhood favorite books, the Harry Potter series, along with the new book that just came out, or play, whatever you want to call it. And then some just Barnes & Noble classic books. They look nice. They're just good books in general. There's a lot of them I haven't read and I really want to get to, including H.P. Lovecraft's great tales of horror. Short stories of scary monsters and people dying, so what's not to like? Below, some more Barnes & Noble classic books, as well as The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and some C.S. Lewis. Over here on this side, the Hunger Games trilogy, which has been pretty popular lately due to the movies, and then also the full Expanse series that they just started a TV show about. They just wrapped up season 2. That series is pretty solid. Wasn't the greatest fan of the last book that just came out, but it's still okay. It's a good read though. I recommend you read the series. I highly enjoy it. So that's pretty much for the books in my living room. The next shelf kind of gets into some of my movies. Unfortunately, I don't have as many movies as I would like, but hopefully that collection will grow in the future. So let's take a look and see what I have. Okay, we'll start on this side. I have some of the Harry Potter series, as well as everyone's favorite childhood movie, The Goonies. If you haven't seen this, you better watch it. It's phenomenal. The entire series of Battlestar Galactica. It's a great show. I highly recommend you check it out. Also, a few new movies to my collection here. The new Star Wars movie, Rogue One. Logan, fantastic movie. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of the X-Men series. And this one's an older movie, but still good, Whiplash. I love this movie. You should really watch it. You know, here's some of my mind-bending kind of movies like Inception, you know, and then I have the Star Wars trilogy, the complete saga on Blu-ray. I love Star Wars. One of my favorite series of all time, and I had to get the Blu-ray collection. It's phenomenal. It's got some great artwork inside, as well as every movie on Blu-ray. So what's not to like there? And Return of the Jedi. Empire's the best though, just so you know. Moving along to The Dark Knight. It's a great movie. I love Christopher Nolan's Batman series. I love what he did with the Batman character and how that series went. My favorite movie of all time is also on the shelf. We'll be getting to that in a minute. Some Avatar, and also the entire Jurassic Park trilogy, which is now 4 movies, but at this time it was a trilogy, and so got the Blu-ray of those. I love Jurassic Park. Have some James Bonds here, and let's not look at that movie. That was an awful movie. Batman vs. Superman. Please never watch this movie. It's so bad. I don't even know why I own it. The Martian, great movie. Let's see, skipping along a little bit. Deadpool's pretty great. That's a pretty funny movie if you haven't seen it. Moving along, Star Trek. I love the Star Trek series, the new reboot that J.J. Abrams did. Some pretty solid movies. This one's actually not J.J. Abrams though. This is the newest one, Star Trek Beyond. Now we get to my favorite movie of all time though, The Dark Knight. Again, I love what Christopher Nolan did with the Batman series, and The Dark Knight is my favorite movie of all time. As well as Batman Begins. Some more Star Trek, and then some Alien with Prometheus. If you haven't seen the new one, it's decent. I recommend watching it if you're a fan of the series, as well as Prometheus. It's decent too. The Avengers and Captain America, some more Marvel movies. This is pretty solid. Let's see here. Spider-Man is great. Here's what I like. The 4 Alien movies. Watch the first 2. Skip the last 2. First 2 are great though. Aliens is the best of the entire series, so highly recommend watching that. And then also the new Star Wars movie, which is also really good if you like Star Wars. I love this movie. I'm really looking forward to Episode 8 coming out here at the end of the year. Some more James Bond, as well as X-Men Apocalypse. I wasn't the world's biggest Apocalypse fan, but it was okay. You know, not a terrible movie, but I own it. So there's that. Guardians of the Galaxy. I also love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies of all time as well. Also, the new animated Batman: The Killing Joke. I highly recommend reading the book. The movie does it pretty good justice though. So either way, you know, read the book, watch the movie, do both. I'd recommend that. And then, you know, a few other movies here at the end, but Mad Max Fury Road, if you haven't seen it, it's also phenomenal. I highly recommend it. It's pretty out there and pretty crazy, but it's definitely a ride that I love and is fantastic. So that's pretty much my movie shelf in here. So let's move on to the game room, and I'll catch you guys in there. And now we come to the best part of the house. The Nerd Room. So here at Media Tsunami, we have a big focus on video games, but in case you couldn't tell, I'm quite the board game collector as well. So I'm going to bring some board games to the channel right now and show you my board game collection. Starting here, we have one of my favorite games of all time, Scythe. It is phenomenal. It's mechs, and you go around and you fight each other, or you cannot fight each other, you know, it's possible, but it's a great game. I highly recommend playing it if you like board games. It's a pretty popular one. If you like board games, you've possibly heard of it. As well as some others by the same designer, Euphoria and Viticulture. Another great party game though here is Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space. This is one I play when we get together with Matt and some of our friends. Matt from Media Tsunami, in case you guys are wondering who that is. We get together and we play this one. It's a pretty great kind of hide and seek style game. Moving down, Food Chain Magnate. Fun game. You get to build a food chain empire and basically sell food to other people's customers. It's great. My favorite game of all time though is Time Stories. It's a puzzle solving kind of storytelling game. You get to go through, these are actually expansions for the game itself. I have all of them at the moment. There's a new one coming out very soon. I highly recommend this game if you're looking to do something that's kind of puzzly and storytelling. This is probably my favorite board game of all time. Love this game, as well as a few other good ones here. Moving down, this is my Stronghold game shelf. Great Western Trail and Terraforming Mars. I think I prefer Terraforming Mars just a little more, but both of these came out this last year. They're both solid games, lots of fun. Dark Moon is a great alien hidden trader game. You can play with lots of people, it's great. I highly recommend it as well as Among the Stars is good. Another good party game is Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. It's a social deduction game, lots of fun. Now we've hit the Cool Mini or Not shelf with some of their miniature games. Blood Rage, Zombicide, Black Plague, and this one's actually not miniatures, but Xenoshift Onslaught. All solid games. I highly recommend it. They're Cool Mini or Not, great production value, lots of quality in the boxes, well worth your money. I would recommend all three of these games. And then on my bottom shelf down here, a few other good games. Clank, Deck Builder, lots of fun. You've probably heard of this one if you're into board games. It's great. Cry Havoc is another good one. It's a dudes fighting it out on a map kind of game. Lots of fun. And then Captain Sonar is Battleship on steroids. It's 4-on-4 submarine battles where you're given real-time commands and fighting it out. Lots of fun. I always break it out if there's 8 people. Highly recommend Captain Sonar. And here we get to the second shelf. San Juan, pretty fun game. Flatline is a new game to my collection. It's a dice rolling, real-time game. Lots of fun. You get to chuck lots of dice. Awesome. Above and Below is a Ryan Lockett game. The artwork in it is absolutely beautiful. Let me pull it out here for a second so you can kind of see. The artwork's beautiful. He does all the artwork himself. It's a phenomenal storytelling game. Really fun. My fiance and I like to play this one a lot. And then have some escape room card games. They're new. Unlock. I actually haven't played these two. I've played the other one in the series. Lots of fun. The first one was anyway. I'm looking forward to getting these two to the table. Moving down here, you know, these some solid card game. Arkham Horror, the card game. Quadropolis and Small World are Days of Wonder games. Really good intro games for people. I recommend them if you're trying to get people to get into board games. And Dark Souls, the board game. This is a new Kickstarter that just was filled. The miniatures in this game are beautiful. The gameplay itself is also pretty fun. I enjoy it. Based on one of my favorite video games of all time, Dark Souls. So this game is really great, and that's quite the hefty box. So, you know, you get a lot for your money. Moving down here, we have Pandemic. I have some of the expansions in here as well as the base game. This kind of holds it all. It's an awesome box that contains all of the expansions and different things, as well as a few other good games. You know, some Euros here that are pretty solid as well. Trajan's a lot of fun. I highly recommend that one as a Steffenfeld game. We get down to here. Stockpile is one of my favorite stock market style games. You get to buy and sell stocks, screw people over. Really awesome. Highly recommend this game. I can't recommend it high enough. As well as Battlestar Galactica. It's just a great IP. Lots of fun playing in the Battlestar Galactica universe. You get to play as the characters from the show. There's traitors, there's people that are Cylons, and they're trying to kill you. So it's pretty great. Down here, some really good games as well. The Legendary Encounter series is really fun. This one's in the Firefly universe. This one's in the Alien universe. Card games where you get to fight and play through the different episodes of the television show and the movies, respectively. Really fun games. Highly recommend them. Next shelf, Star Wars Rebellion. This game is phenomenal. It's playing through Star Wars, the original trilogy. It is a two-player game. It can be 4. I recommend playing it 2. One person takes on the Empire, one person takes on the Rebellion. You fight it out. The Empire is trying to destroy the Rebel base. The Rebels are trying to survive long enough. Awesome strategy game. Highly recommend it. I got a few escape room games as well here from the Exit line. I haven't played any of those yet. Really looking forward to playing those. Down here, Dead of Winter is a really good party game. Lots of fun with 5 or 6 people. I think it plays up to I don't remember. I should know my stuff. It plays up to 5, so you can't play it with 6 people. Anyway, plays well with 5. Lots of fun. Killing zombies with a chance of someone trying to hoard food and other goods to make your party not do as well. So, awesome game. Awesome. I really recommend it. This shelf, some solid games. Seven Wonders and Mysterium. Both great games. Both good kind of intro games for people. Mysterium's cooperative. You're kind of given cards and people are like, what does this mean? What does the card mean? It's really fun. Highly recommend both of those. Especially in a big group. Lots of fun. Another one of my favorite games of all time is Pandemic Legacy. I loved it so much I played through it twice. Once you beat the game game itself can't be played again though, so that's why I bought the second box, in case you're wondering. Played one with some friends, played another with my fiance, had a great time, really looking forward to Season 2 coming out this fall. Awesome game. If you like Pandemic or you just like story-driven, where your choices change things games, this is what you need to try out. It is amazing. I love Pandemic Legacy. And then moving down to the bottom shelf, a few generic games here that are pretty fun. I like all of these. This War of Mine is also based on a video game. This game just came out. Lots of fun. It's a cooperative game. Kind of sad. Everyone dies in the end pretty much. That's kind of the way it works. You can do your best, but lots of people are not going to make it. Pretty sad, but still a fun game. Great components. And it's awesome kind of storytelling. So I recommend it if you're okay with being sad for a little bit. It's still a great game though. Moving over here, we have a really great party game, Codenames. I recommend it. It's you've probably heard of this even if you're not a board gamer. Great game, recommend it. And then Star Wars Imperial Assault. You get to take people from the Star Wars universe and fight them out. It's great. There's ATSTs and Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. It's awesome. You get to just duel them all out. Pretty great game. Highly recommend this one. Down here, Mansions of Madness, set in the H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu mythos. This game is great. It's a cooperative, explore a mansion, you get attacked by giant creepy monster things, you're solving mysteries, solving puzzles. You don't know what your objective is going in, but you figure it out along the way. Really awesome game backed up by an app. So you actually play the board game, you also interact with the app. Really awesome design and really good game. Highly recommend this one. Here's a lot of my Days of Wonder games. Ticket to Ride, pretty solid intro game for people that don't board game very often. I still love Ticket to Ride though, even though I love board games and play all the time. I'll always pull up Ticket to Ride if someone wants to play. As well as Shadows over Camelot, another hidden trader game, lots of fun. Days of Wonder's quality is just fantastic. Highly recommend their games if you're new into board gaming or if you've been into board gaming for a while. Days of Wonder's games are great. Moving down here, I have some Dice Masters. A lot of Marvel, so Avengers and X-Men, Spider-Man, more X-Men, Age of Ultron, stuff like that. Really great dice rolling game, fighting it out. You get to kind of pick your characters from the Marvel Universe and fight them against each other. Lots of fun. Highly recommend these games, Dice Masters. And then moving down here, we have some good solid games. Settlers of Catan's a pretty common intro game for board gamers. Lots of fun. That one actually belongs to my fiance. It's quite old. As well as The Gallerist. This is a beefy game. You get to play as a art gallerist, basically. Buying paintings, selling paintings, discovering artists. What more can I say? It's lots of fun. Highly recommend that one. Moving over here, we have some more simple games. Baseball highlights, lots of fun. I guess Axis and Allies is not really a simple game. It's more of a war game. It's basically reenacting World War II. Awesome war strategy game. This game basically got me through college. I played this with my friends in college all the time. Love this game, Axis and Allies. And then on the final shelf, Grizzle is a good cooperative card game. Race for the Galaxy. This is a great card game. Kind of complicated, but lots of fun. I highly recommend trying it out if you like simple or like card games and want it to be a little more challenging. This has some great strategy. Race for the Galaxy. And now we're going to take a look at the top of my shelf, the ones that actually can't fit in the holes because the game boxes are just too dang big.
That's what she said.
Over here, Mechs vs. Minions. This one you get what you pay for in the box. This one is beefy. Let me scoot this out of the way, pull this puppy off the shelf. It's hefty, but it comes with a lot of really awesome stuff. It's set in the League of Legends universe, but I've never played League of Legends, so I can't tell you how well it compares, but this game is awesome. Cooperative, card-playing game with big miniatures, duking it out on the board. Highly recommend this game. You can actually only buy it from Riot Games off their website, though, so go check it out. I think they just did a reprint, so this game is awesome. And super cheap for what all comes in the box. A game like this would normally cost you a lot more than it does, so go check it out. Let's see here. Pathfinder, the adventure card game. Lots of fun. I get to fight enemies, deck build. I highly enjoy this. Have Rise of the Rune Lords and the Skull and Shackles. I played Rise of the Rune Lords, haven't quite gotten Skull and Shackles to the table yet. Got it in a trade with somebody recently. Really looking forward to trying it out because I like Rise of the Rune Lords. Xayah. This game is amazing and beautiful, and just play it. you won't even understand how great it is until you play it. You get to ride spaceships around, shoot your friend, or shoot your enemies, shoot your friends, be an outlaw, be a good person. Really great game. You can kind of win any way you want. Awesome. Millennium Blades. This is a game that replicates playing a CCG, but it does phenomenal things with it. I love this game. Anytime someone wants to play this game, I will pull it out and play it. It's so great. Highly recommend Millennium Blades. And finally, Anachrony. It's a new game to my collection, fairly new, recently released. Go back in time, you can give yourself things, but then you gotta go forward and pay yourself back. Worker placement game, really great. Art's beautiful. The components are awesome. There's quite a bit in this box. It's pretty hefty. Weighs quite a bit, so I highly recommend trying out Anachrony if that sounds like your kind of game. And now we get to my graphic novel shelf. At the top, the full series of Dragon Ball Z. Love this series, it's great. I actually never watched the TV show, unfortunately. I didn't grow up with it, but read the comics early college. Love the series. Glad to have it in my collection. As well as Death Note, another one of my favorite mangas and animes. I've actually read the entire series, watched the entire series. I love this one. This one's probably my favorite manga and anime of all time. So, highly recommend this one. And I recently started reading 20th Century Boys. I'm up to, I guess, book 13 there. This is a pretty good series. I'm excited to see how it ends. Working on that one right now. So, here I have Age of Apocalypse, X-Men. This is an awesome collection of basically all the Apocalypse comics. Really great. Awesome read, and if you like X-Men, I would highly recommend this one here. As well as Watchmen. I forgot this one over here in the corner. This is kind of the necessity for every graphic novel collector, is just the original Watchmen comic. Pretty good read, way better than the movie. Moving on, we get to my pretty extensive Batman collection. It kind of covers a full span from old Batman to new Batman to even newest Batman. So, you know, some of the really good ones, Long Halloween and Dark Victory. These is the original and then the sequel to it. Both really awesome stories. The Long Halloween especially is probably one of my favorites. You know, it's traditional Batman, kind of old school comic artwork. Still really cool though. I highly recommend reading this one. It's an awesome book, as well as Dark Victory. It's sequel. Some suspense and mystery going on there also, which is really fun. And then the Nightfall series. This is where Batman gets his back broken. For those who know a little bit about Batman lore, he fights Bane and is defeated. This series is awesome. Pretty long. It's quite the undertaking to read it, but really great. They have it collected in 3 books, these 3 big books. As well as I'm sure there are smaller books out there as well that collect them all, but this is the way I got it. Really awesome series. Highly recommend Nightfall. As well as the Scott Snyder new Batman series that he just finished up before they rebooted the DC Universe. Highly recommend those as well. Those are awesome. Moving down here, I have some Robert Kirkman, The Invincible series. I have all but the final book. He hasn't released yet. It's coming out hopefully soon. This series is really solid. It's kind of a violent superhero kind of story, but really enjoy it. This one's one where you see that the good guy doesn't always win. He kind of gets the crap kicked out of him a lot, but it's an awesome story. Recommend reading Invincible, as well as Robert Kirkman's other famous one, The Walking Dead. Phenomenal series. The books, as much as I like the TV show, the books are way better. I would recommend taking The Walking Dead this way rather than the TV show if you had to do one over the other. The books are really solid. I have some Star Wars books down here. The Timothy Zahn series, the Thrawn trilogy, a really awesome trilogy. Highly recommend reading that, as well as the new Thrawn book, which I haven't actually read yet, but I'm really looking forward to it because the Thrawn trilogy is awesome. I also have the let's see, the Legacy of the Force series here. Kind of covers Han and Leia's kids and kind of how all that takes place. I haven't read most of those, but I'm looking forward to kind of getting into those. As well as Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Great movie, great book series, really awesome. Highly recommend you read it. These are some of my strategy guides for games that I own. Mostly I own them for some of the artwork that's included in them. Not so much that I need the help strategizing in the game, but just because they look beautiful, they're really great. The Last of Us is a beautiful game. I love this game a lot, and the strategy guide just kind of covers some of that artwork and shows you some of that really cool stuff. This is an amazing game. Highly recommend playing it. But we'll get to that in a bit. Coming down to the bottom of the shelf, we actually finally get to some video games here. This is my DS and 3DS collections. Some really solid games here. Some Zelda, you know, Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon. Awesome. I love Fire Emblem games. They're so great, as well as Fire Emblem Awakening. And then Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, the reproduction of it. Really awesome. And A Link Between Worlds. This is a great original game that came out with the 3DS. It's a sequel to A Link to the Past. Highly recommend playing this one if you like the Zelda series. This one's pretty great. Moving over here, some of my Final Fantasies. Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. Final Fantasy is a great series. 7 is revered to possibly be one of the best Final Fantasies of all time. Really great series. Highly recommend playing Final Fantasy. Moving down here, my Sega Genesis collection. This was actually the first system I ever owned. So I have a lot of my games still in box. They're these hardcover boxes. So, you know, unlike the paper ones, you didn't really throw them out. We always kept these, and most of these I have had since I was a kid, with the exception of this column here. You know, Vector Man, one of my favorite games of all time. Love Vector Man. There's actually a playthrough on Media Tsunami's channel. Go check it out. You'll see me try and beat Vector Man. Do I? You'll have to go see and find out. Still a great game though, lots of fun. As well as Urban Strike. This was one of my dad's favorite games growing up. He would actually play this one with me, as well as Vector Man. My dad was not much of a video gamer, but Urban Strike and Vector Man were where it was at, so he would play those with me. So I have lots of really good memories with this game as a child. Moving on, I have some Sonic, Sonic the Hedgehog, awesome game, as well as Altered Beast. This game's lots of fun. Highly recommend Altered Beast. It's hard, but lots of fun. Over here to the actual games without boxes, I have quite a few of those as well. Some Toy Story and stuff, as well as Aladdin. Lots of fun games. But Vector Man 2, so I've already talked about Vector Man, but Vector Man 2, pretty solid. Check that one out as well. Also, even though it's not anything special as a kid, I spent a lot of time playing some Wayne Gretzky and the NHLPA. Wow, that is a mouthful. NHLPA All-Stars. This game is probably not actually all that great, but lots of hours as a kid playing this game, so check that one out if you like hockey. Pretty solid game. I love hockey, so that one was pretty special to me growing up. So that concludes it for the Sega Genesis. Let's move on to my other game shelf and see what's over there. And here's some of the newer age games, PS4 and Xbox One. So Bloodborne, super solid game in the Dark Souls series. Well, I guess it's not really in the Dark Souls series, but it's made by the same people. A lot of people consider it to be the Soulsborne series. Really awesome game. This is the collector's edition. Love this game. Highly recommend checking it out if you have a PS4. As well as another game that recently came out this year, and probably a front runner for Game of the Year, is Horizon Zero Dawn. If you haven't heard of this game, go check it out. It's really solid. Awesome story. Great gameplay. Uncharted 4. I love the Uncharted collection, the Uncharted series, and this game was no different. A fitting end to Drake's story. Highly recommend Uncharted 4. If you like horror games, Until Dawn's a pretty solid one, actually. You make choices, your characters can die, It's kind of horror-based, lots of fun. Maybe not the greatest acting in the world, but you know, I had a lot of fun playing this game. It'll only take about 6 to 8 hours of your time, and it's pretty solid. So I highly recommend checking this one out. Going over to the Xbox games, I have some of the Telltale series, Game of Thrones. I love the Telltale games. Game of Thrones was a really good one. Looking forward to season 2 of that series. Moving on a little more, Metal Gear Solid 5, a really solid addition to the Metal Gear Solid series. I love Metal Gear Solid, and Metal Gear Solid 5 is a really solid addition. Love this game. Highly recommend you play it. Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, pretty good. Really looking forward to Battlefront 2. I think it's going to blow this game out of the water. Really hoping so anyway. Had fun, but still looking forward to trying the second one out. I think it's going to be a lot better. Resident Evil 7. This game was not that great. It was okay. I mean, I had fun playing it, but it has nothing on most of the Resident Evil series, so you know, it is what it is. But what I did really like is Doom. Bethesda did a phenomenal job kind of recreating the Doom universe, or starting Doom kind of fresh. It's a solid shooter, really awesome gameplay. Recommend checking this one out if you're a Doom fan. Have some of the Gears of War. Gears of War is a really good series, so I have the 1 through 3 as well as 4. Pretty awesome games. I recommend checking those out. Moving forward, Dark Souls. Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3 on the Xbox One are phenomenal games. Dark Souls 3 is my favorite of the series, and definitely in my top 10 games of all time. Dark Souls 3 is really great. You should play this game. You should start at 1 and play through the series. They're really great. They'll piss you off because you'll die a lot, but they're still really great. That's Dark Souls. Also, I forgot to mention the really sweet looking Metroid I have up here, if I don't drop it. This thing's really cool. This is the World of Nintendo Metroid figure. I love the Metroid series, and this guy is just really cool. He looks awesome, and he's huge. So he's kind of prowling on top of my shelf here, watching over my collection. Moving along, I have some of my GameCube collection here, as well as on the next shelf. I just didn't really have a good way to fit it all, so here's some really solid ones. Harvest Moon, It's a Wonderful Life. Played this game a lot as a kid. Me and my sister played this one. Lots of fun. I actually really like the Harvest Moon series. You know, you get to farm. It's what's not to like? You get to feed your cows, get married, have kids. Yeah, pretty fun. Recommend checking it out. Oh, also, I overskipped this. Spider-Man 2. Probably the best Spider-Man game ever made. Until the new Insomniac one comes out next year. Hopefully that one's better. But this is a really solid game. I like Spider-Man, and getting to play as him is a lot of fun. Let's see. Moving along, we can get to some of the PS3 games here. The Last of Us. This is also one of my favorite games of all time. Highly recommend it. It's by the same people that do Uncharted. Love The Last of Us. It's a zombie apocalypse kind of game. Very story driven. Lots of fun. Highly recommend checking that out. As well as the Metal Gear Solid collection. This contains pretty much every Metal Gear Solid game ever made. Except for 5. So this game is phenomenal. Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all really great. Metal Gear Solid 3 is my favorite of the series, and that also cracks my top 10 games of all time. Really awesome. And this one actually comes with a pretty sweet looking art book, so you know, this is pretty sweet. Check it out, pick it up. Lots of fun. Moving along, Ico Shadow of the Colossus. Ico's, it's okay. Shadow of the Colossus, also a really awesome game. Top 25 for me. You get to fight really big monsters, and it's kind of a puzzly game too. Really awesome. Check that one out. As well as Uncharted 2. I talked already a little bit about the Uncharted series. Uncharted 2, though, is my favorite in the series. Really, really awesome game. Check that one out. Moving over here, we get some of my Wii and Wii U stuff. The Twilight Princess remake for Wii U. Really solid. Actually, haven't played the whole game through. I need to go through and play it and beat it someday. But for now, it's the parts I have played are fun. Highly recommend. Anything Zelda is really great. You know, a few of the traditional Wii games, Xenoblade Chronicles, Metroid Other M. You know, a few fun things there. Also on the Wii, I have the Metroid Prime trilogy. The Prime games are really solid. You should check them out. Lots of fun. The original Prime game is my favorite from the series, but the rest are still really good. So you should try those out. Moving down here, I have quite the extensive Xbox 360 collection. It was probably the system I've had the longest in my life, or the longest period of time anyway. And it was right in the prime of my gaming, you know, high school, early college. So I have lots of games for it. You know, Left 4 Dead 2 and Left 4 Dead, really awesome series. Valve makes some great games. I'm really hoping they come out with a Left 4 Dead 3. Not likely with their track record, though. Let's see, you know, some regular Call of Duties as well as Metal Gear Solid. Again, here's just 2 and 3 in this package, where this one covers a more extensive range, but I got this one first. Came back and got this one later. Let's see here, moving on down. Mass Effect 2. This is my favorite game of all time. If I can get it out. These are pretty tight here. Favorite game of all time, Mass Effect 2. The first one was pretty good. This one blew it out of the water. The storytelling, the decision making, the gameplay, it's all phenomenal. Play this game, please, I beg you. It's so great. I love it. Moving on, Dead Space is a great series. This is actually the second one. I have the first one around here somewhere. I'm sure we'll get to it eventually. Dead Space 2, really solid game. Check it out. Assassin's Creeds are also pretty fun. They kind of went overboard after 3. I kind of got tired of playing them and kind of stopped. So that's the end of my run with Assassin's Creed. Gears of War again, really solid series, as well as Halo. Halo 3 was a lot of fun. I enjoyed Halo 3. It doesn't hold a candle to Halo 2, best Halo game of all time, but Halo 3 is still pretty solid. The Arkham series, Arkham City, actually is my favorite from the series. Really awesome Batman game. I love Batman. My favorite superhero of all time, in case you couldn't tell from the previous shelf. Arkham City is awesome. Moving on, we have some back to the GameCube section. We have Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. This is a really awesome Metal Gear Solid game. I've kind of covered it a little bit. And then over here, some of the Metroid Primes. But here is one of my favorite GameCube games of all time, Resident Evil 4. I say one of, it probably is my favorite GameCube game of all time. I know it came out on PS2 as well. But really solid game, best Resident Evil game ever made. I don't think they'll ever make another game like this, but I certainly hope they do. As well as some James Bond. I loved playing multiplayer James Bond as a kid. And Smash Bros. Melee, everyone knows about that one. That's a pretty solid game as well. Going over here to the original Xbox section, Halo 2, best Halo ever made, like I said. Phenomenal game, as well as Battlefront 2. Knights of the Old Republic are phenomenal Star Wars games, and just phenomenal games in general. This is also one of my favorite games of all time. Love it. Highly recommend playing it if you never have, as well as the sequel to it. Both really awesome BioWare games by the same maker of Mass Effect, so check those out. And then over here on the end, back to Star Wars, we have Bounty Hunter, also a really awesome game where you get to play as Jango Fett. Highly recommend this one as well. Super awesome Star Wars game. I love Star Wars though, so I may be a little biased, but still a really fun game. Now we get to the fun part of the shelf, the Super Nintendo section. These are some old games that I've added to my collection over the years. Really awesome. I have a lot in box here. Trying to keep them protected, but I pull them out all the time to play them. They're really fun. Up here are some RPGs, Legend of Gaia, as well as one of my favorite RPGs of all time, Chrono Trigger. This game is phenomenal. The artwork is beautiful. I highly recommend playing this game if you can get your hands on a copy of it. If not, I'm sure you can play it online somewhere for free. Really awesome RPG. Really amazing game. This was just such a journey. I loved it. As well as a King of Demons. It was a Japanese game that this is not a legit copy. This was one I bought at a convention. Pretty fun. Joshua got me into this one though. As well as King of Dragons. This is another pretty pricey game now. Lots of fun. It's kind of a two-player kind of brawling. Lots of fun fighting dragons and other people. Solid game. And Turtles in Time. You can actually see a playthrough of this on Media Tsunami's channel. We played that one at John's house. Really awesome. I think it was Josh and myself that played it. Not positive, but I think that's what it was. So go check it out. Let's see. Moving along, I have some remakes of Metroid games. I love Metroid, and so Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid Ares. Really cool. Really excited about those. I like the Metroid games, as well as Chrono Trigger Crimson Echoes. It's a fan-made sequel, I guess, to Chrono Trigger. Really cool. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. One of the greatest RPGs ever made. This game is phenomenal. Played it for the first time in the past 3 years or so. Really enjoyed it. I got it at the recommendation of Matt and John. Was not disappointed at all. Moving down a little bit, we'll get back to this guy in a minute. But ActRaiser's pretty fun, as well as some more Metroid here. This one, though, falls as one of my top 5 favorite games of all time, Super Metroid. I love the series, and this one's the best of the series. If you haven't heard of Super Metroid, you should definitely go look it up. It's a really well-known game, and it's really awesome. I absolutely love it. NBA Jam is next. We played that a lot as a kid at my aunt's house, so that just holds some fond memories to me. Over here is Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, another one of the best games ever put out on the Super Nintendo. Really awesome, really fun, kind of action style game. Super cool. Go check it out if you haven't ever played it, which if you like Zelda, I'm sure you have, but really cool. Demon's Crest. This was also a fun find for me. I picked this one up at the recommendation of a friend. Was not disappointed with this one either. Lots of fun, lots of action. The game starts out with you being chased by a giant dragon. That's about all you need to know. It's really cool. Moving down, I'll move some of these little amiibo figures. I have the Mega Mans, Mega Man X, X2, X3, and Mega Man 7. These boxes are actually fake. I bought them for like a couple of bucks each or something. But the games, the carts inside are actually real. Really awesome, really fun games. I love the Mega Man series. We'll be getting to that a little bit more when we get to the NES section. As well as some fighting games, some of John's favorites, Street Fighter 2. We actually did a review of the movie, Street Fighter 2. Go check that out. And you can see my opinion of it, as well as John's, and Matt's, and Josh's. Spoiler alert, they liked it a little more than I did. But there it is, Street Fighter 2. The game itself is fun though, I really like it. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3, really awesome series. I like Donkey Kong Countries, and these are no exception. Super Smash TV, really fun game. I think we have a playthrough of that on the Media Tsunami channel. If not, we really need to get one. But I think we do, so go check that one out. As well as some of the Final Fantasies 2 and 3 that were released on the Super Nintendo. And now, the final box I have here on the shelf, this big bad dude, Earthbound. This is a massive box, and boy, this is a crazy game. I've never beaten it. I don't know why. I got probably 2/3 of the way through it and just stopped. I need to beat it. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed my time with it. It's time for me to go back and beat this guy. But Earthbound was pretty solid the time I spent with it. Go check out Earthbound. Lots and lots of fun. And this is probably the prize of my collection for the Super Nintendo. Over here, some loose carts. We'll move along to them. Goof Troop. lots of fun. We have a playthrough of that on the Media Tsunami channel. Go check it out. Really awesome game. Let's see here. So we have some Super Mario World hacks and things. Jurassic Park, the video game. That one's a fun one. Go check that out. Revolution X, there's actually a playthrough on the Media Tsunami channel of that one. Go check that out and see how that goes. That's that one's fun. As well as another Metroid hack kind of game. So this is Super Zero Mission. I love my Metroid games. I have lots of them. I buy hacks for Metroid all the time because I just love playing them. So that's the Super Nintendo collection. Moving along, we'll get to some of my N64 here. Put those guys up there. So we have Super Mario 64, awesome Mario game. Loved this as a kid, played it a lot, as well as Ocarina of Time. Some people say this is the best Zelda game of all time. I politely disagree that it's Link to the Past, but Ocarina of Time is also a really solid, really fun game. Paper Mario, loved it as a kid. It's an RPG, similar to Legend of the Seven Stars, but you know, Paper Mario was one that I grew up with. Really loved this game. Lots of fun. Played it with my sister a lot. Donkey Kong 64 and Banjo-Kazooie, both great games. Also played a lot as a kid. And this one here is Star Fox 64. Came in a giant box because it also came with a Rumble Pack. This is one of my favorite 64 games of all time. Super awesome, really awesome, like plane fighting, shooting game. If you haven't played any of the Star Foxes, this is a really good place to start. And then some of the loose carts I have here, let's just kind of go through Super Smash Brothers, as well as an extra copy of Paper Mario. I think I need to probably sell this one off, because I, for some reason, have 2 copies that I forgot about. Oh, John would like to buy it, I think, so maybe I can get him on it. Mario Kart 64, really awesome racing game. This was the best Mario Kart of all time, in my opinion. Let's see what else we have here. Another copy of Star Fox 64. What is this? For some reason I have 2 copies of some games. Maybe they're just not in their boxes. Maybe that's what it is. I should probably get that fixed. Star Wars Rogue Squadron, also really solid. Last couple of games here. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, fun game. And 007 GoldenEye. If you haven't played this game in your living room with some friends, multiplayer, you don't know what life is. This game is great. And to be honest, it probably sucks kind of now. Like, the shooting's probably not the best in the world, but my gosh, I just have so much fun with this game. Even nowadays playing it, it's just really good. So if you've played it, you know how great it is. So I'll get those rearranged in a little bit here. But let's move on to the Game Boy Advance kind of section here. Some of the Final Fantasies I got. I like Final Fantasy a lot, and these are no exception. Final Fantasy 6 and 5, as well as 1 and 2 in this box. Pretty great. Some of the Pokemon games are really fun. Matt absolutely loves the Pokemon series. I grew up with him. I really like him a lot, but he's the one that just really loves these. Fusion, another great Metroid game. Definitely belongs in the Metroid series. Really awesome game. Moving along some, Fire Emblem and Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones. I love Fire Emblem. These are both great games. And then on top here, Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. Both really, really solid games. They play very similar to A Link to the Past, but highly, highly recommend those. Now to the NES shelf. Going through some of these, I have some of the cheaper, $2 or $3 games, because John convinced me that they were the best games in the world, and some of them are alright, I guess, but there's that. Tecmo Bowl, that's a must. You have to have Tecmo Bowl, as well as Guerrilla War. That one was one that John recommended to me that I thoroughly enjoy, actually. It's a fun game. Super Mario Duck Hunt, and then Karnov. Gosh, John, thanks for recommending Karnov to me. Ya jerk! Just kidding, Karnov's not that bad, I guess. Up here I have Contra. Contra. What a great game. I can't get past the first level, but what a great game. That was a joke, but kinda. Sorry, I'm laughing on camera. Dig Dug 2. Played this game a lot as a kid. Really liked it, so this is more of a nostalgic game for me, but still pretty fun. Way better than the original Dig Dug in my opinion, but you know, that's just one man's opinion, I guess. Ninja Gaiden. Hard game. Still really fun though. As well as 1942. You can find a playthrough of this one on our channel. Pretty solid game, as well as Ninja Gaiden. You can find both of these on our channel, I'm pretty sure. Both really great games, so go check those out. Go see if I'm able to get past the first level on either of those. Let's see here. Moving on to Magic Johnson's Fast Break. Oh my. As well as 1943. I actually think it was 1943 we played on the channel, not 1942. Very similar games though, so go check out 1943 and see what you think about 1942. Contra Super C, another Contra game. Really hard, really fun. Lots to like there. Go check out Super C. Mega Man 5. We'll get to my other Mega Mans in a minute, but Mega Man 5 is a pretty solid game. I love the Mega Man series, and this is definitely a really good addition to it. Pretty much all the NES Mega Man games, they're all good. I mean, I think Mega Man 2 is my favorite from the series, but Mega Man 5 is pretty good as well. So go check that one out. Moving on down, another one John recommended to me that I was actually surprisingly impressed with, Wrath of the Black Manta. Really awesome game, and it's only like, you know, $10 or something. So if you like the NES, go check that one out. Ghosts and Goblins. Oh boy, is this a fun game. My first experience with Ghosts and Goblins was at John's house, with a bet on the line. Go check out the Media Tsunami video to see what happens. It doesn't end well for any of us, let's put it that way. Yeah, go check that one out. As well as a second copy of Tecmo Bowl. I love the game so much, I bought it twice. I actually think I got this one in a trade with a bunch of other games. I think is what's going on here, so... I guess you can't ever have too much Tecmo Bowl. Now moving on to some of my boxed NES games here. Final Fantasy. This one's seen better days, but still a solid title in the series. I would recommend just moving on to Dawn of Souls, the original Final Fantasy game on the Game Boy Advance. Plays much quicker and is less of a headache. So yeah, forgo this one, go play that one. It's the same game, basically. Castlevania, as well as Castlevania 2 and Castlevania 3. Awesome games, love Castlevania. It's a great series. TMNT 1, TMNT, the original game, the arcade game, and TMNT 3, the Manhattan Project. Manhattan Project is by far the best of the series, in my humble opinion. But you know, we have a video, I believe, of us playing the original and the second game. Not the second game, I don't think, actually. The first game, though, on the Media Tsunami channel, so go check that one out. As well as Super Mario Bros. 3. There's a full playthrough of this game on there, so go check that one out. I believe that one was tackled by Matt and John, so really awesome game. Back to the Mega Mans, Mega Man 6 and Mega Man 4. Again, really awesome Mega Man games. I just really like Mega Man. Some Double Dragon 2, really awesome game as well. I need to get the others in the series because I like Double Dragon. So yeah, Double Dragon's pretty great. Again, a second copy of Final Fantasy. Where did this come from? Actually, I do know why I have a second copy. I'm planning on selling one of these copies, and I need to get around to doing that. Just have been slow on the trigger there. You know, it was one of those bundled deals where you buy a couple games and it just came along for the ride. So, the original Mega Man, also really good. We'll be getting to my favorite here in a second, though. Metroid, another good one in the Metroid series. It was this one that started it all. Pretty solid. I would recommend probably just skipping it and going to some of the other Metroids, though, unless you just want the iconic NES Metroid. It's, you know, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, but it's you know, it's there. It's great. And then Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3. Mega Man 2 is my favorite of the Mega Man series. It's great. The box artwork is not the best in the world, but the game is phenomenal. The music is fantastic. One of the few Mega Man games I've actually beaten. So go check this one out. It took me hours and hours and hours of heartache to beat this game, but still great. So go check that one out, as well as Mega Man 3 here in the corner. So that basically concludes my Mega Man series. I think I have all from 1 through 6 here, and then 7 through X3 here. All great games. I enjoy Mega Man. I don't have any of the other ones though, the ones for like PlayStation and stuff, but maybe one day I'll pick those up. So that concludes the Nerd Room tour. I hope you've enjoyed seeing all of the things I've collected over the past lifetime. And that is pretty much all I got for you. So go home. Like, get out of my house. Leave. Go. Bye. Moving over here, we have some pretty great party games. Pretty great party game. Oh gosh. Let's start again. I'll just sit here in shame. Okay, ready?